All right, everyone, thank you for waiting. We're about to get started for the webinar for the Round 5 Group Home Extension. I do have everyone on mute. Could somebody please just email the webinar questions box and let us know that you can hear me? And my colleague here will let me know that someone has done that, and then we can continue. Yeah? Okay, good. Okay, so Round 5 Group Home Extension. There is information available in the ACIN I-3619, and there is a hyperlink in this document if you need a shortcut to get there. So current statute allows extensions through 12/31/18, and if you want an extension beyond that, some specific documentation will be required to be submitted, including the Attachment A, which is the child-specific information, and the capacity plan update. And we'll go into some more information about those shortly. Current trailer bill, if it passes, may also extend, provide additional extensions through 2020, and those will also require similar documentation that we are requiring now. We wanted to highlight that this effort is not solely for the placing agency to do, but we are really hoping for collaboration between the placing agency and county mental health programs. Facilities who have submitted an SDRCP application don't need to do anything at this point other than work with the county placing agency to get the documents filled out and submitted back to the department. Okay, so some information on what we're requiring. The data that we're asking counties to submit is valuable. We want to know what barriers you're coming across for placing these youth, what activities have led to successful transition. So we provided in the attachment A for the second cohort all the youth that were in group homes on 5/1/2019, excluding CTFs, vendorized homes, and SDRCPs. We're asking that you fill out all the information in the tabs for the kids in Attachment A, with the exception of some family finding information, which we'll get to in just a second. Same thing with the county capacity. Please fill out as much of those in detail as possible. So the list of the youth that's included in Attachment A contains basic information about their episode, like how many days they've been in care, how many different placements they've had, their age, the service component, and their number of days in that placement as of May 1st. New fields for this second round of Attachment A information were included that weren't in Cohort 1. So some things may be new, and we can answer any questions about those later if you have any. The Attachment A has specific components that we're looking to get information from. The first being the transition plan activities. We want information on the targeted placement, the targeted placement date, inter-placement committee date. So a question that we've gotten a lot from the counties is, do we need to fill this out for kids that were included in the first round of Attachment A information? And the answer is yes. For a lot of this, it's just checking a box. What's the targeted placement? Where are you trying to get this kid into? What date are you trying to get them in by? We should specify that some counties are entering transition dates of when the extension expires, and it really needs to be a child-specific date. When do you see this specific kid getting into the placement that you are trying to get them into based on the services that you're trying to get them received? So please be mindful when you fill that out. It's very child-specific. For kids with the targeted placement type of SDRCPs, we also want the IPC determination date. As mentioned in recent ACIN, there is a a process for determining the SCRTP, that SCRTPs are necessary for those kids. So we need the date that committee has made that determination. That being said, we did discover recently that there is an error in the attachment A document, and we apologize for any inconvenience. But in the document, if you try to enter an IPC determination date where we ask you to enter it, it won't let you do it. It will only allow for an X. So if you could actually add that date under the comment section in that tab, we can manually transfer it later, and we'd really appreciate it. That is very important information for us to gather. Transition plan and identifying barriers. So the family finding efforts and the family finding lists in the attachment A are where we are looking to see where your barriers for finding a placement for that particular youth really lie. We want to see that counties are reaching out and looking for family members to potentially place these kids with. And we wanted to remind counties that this would be a good source of information for us on where FIPRS dollars should be used to support the counties working towards addressing these barriers. Also, we wanted to mention for the family finding list, you only need to enter information for kids that show up on the second cohort that were also included in the first cohort. We only want to see the activities since the last time you submitted information on them. So you don't need to, this is where a big bulk of the narrative updates are included. So you don't need to re-enter anything that you entered for the first cohort. Just let us know what family has been reached out to for these kids since the first round. So we also wanted to talk about the attachment A being a tool and not just some form that the state is asking you to fill out so we can get some data. There is value in the process of doing this and looking at your kids in group homes and seeing how long they've been there and seeing what kind of services they've gotten and needed. So recruitment experts such as Dr. Denise Goodman have recommended steps to maximize this process as a tool when working within the county. It should be done collaboratively with mental health and the placing agency. Supervisors and leadership should be able to review it regularly and get feedback on what they see. CFTs are essential to building this document. It helps track youth progress and see where they've been and what they might need, and it provides an opportunity to gather and share success stories with staff to celebrate and motivate and ensure that every possible family finding tool is utilized. So we really hope that this is a meaningful process for you guys, and we are here to help with that endeavor in any way that we can. So the second document that counties were sent, and they were sent on May 25th, I believe, is the capacity plan update. The capacity plan identifies the SCRTPs and group homes that were used on 5/1/19, and then we're asking counties to identify which of those facilities or providers they have mental health contracts with, as well as the capacity extent of the service provided. So if you have a 100-bed facility, but the contract for mental health services is only for 20 of those beds, then that's the kind of information you need to know to kind of build a capacity analysis for the providers out there. We want to be able to identify gaps in not just beds, but in services, and we want to know the likely providers counties will rely on. And it's really something that the agencies and mental health agree are needed to meet the county needs. Part of that capacity plan update is to update barriers and solutions. So back in December or late last year, we asked counties to submit capacity information and to provide information on the barriers to different placements. Counties previously submitted information is included in this workbook, and we're asking you to update any new information since that time. What efforts were done to successfully address those barriers that were previously listed? What new barriers have come up? What is or is not working? And this will help us create like a best practice that we can share out with counties moving forward. We want to highlight that this is not a compliance process. It really is supposed to be a tool to help with CCR implementation as a whole. Lastly, we wanted to quickly talk about providers who are not going to be applying or who have been denied STRTP licensure or are planning to change to another category. There is a closure plan on our website that they need to fill out. If you click the link that's in part of this slideshow, it's to the right of that page. So overall, we just want to talk about, we want to get information on what has been tried, what needs still to be done, what more can we do together, and successfully get these kids placed down.
My friend wants to add something, so I'm going to take her off so she can.
Okay, we have a colleague who wants to add a little something to this. Go ahead, Marjana.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, I just wanted to go back to the attachment A, the roadmap to a family, just to kind of elaborate a little bit more what counties can be doing to look at the attachment A more as a tool, and just really stressing the importance of really working with leadership. So if you are running into any barriers, making sure you're checking in with your leadership, and leadership at the same time checking in with staff just to offer that support to help them complete the attachment A. The attachment A. And also, too, if barriers are coming up and you can't overcome them, or you just having just challenges, just continue to reach out to us. Like Anitra spoke out, we are working with Dr. Denise Goodman as a consultant, and who is available to offer counties TA on some of this child-specific recruitment. So at any time, you can also reach out to us for that TA. Other than that, everything else was covered. I just wanted to tag in and add those couple points.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marjana. So were there any questions that were emailed? So we're going to start addressing the questions that were emailed into the webinar.
So for one of them regarding the, we'll kind of just go in order, asking if the webinar will be emailed out. It is attached, so if anyone is not able to see that, just let us know. We'll definitely get that sent out to you so that you're able to view it. Tony, I know you asked, you were not involved in the first round of data collection. Can you get a list of cohort 1 youth from your county?
So all the attachment A data was sent out to the child welfare director, the behavioral health director, and the chief probation officer, both this time and last time. So the cohort 1 data, if you don't have a copy, your leadership should. And if you don't have it, you can always email the CCR performance inbox and copy your director, and we'd be happy to send it what was submitted the first time.
And then the next question from Rose Collins: do the counties need to submit anything when a provider submits a closure plan to get an extension? So the answer is going to be yes. The requirements are still going to be for the county regarding the county capacity plan update, as well as the attachment A, and then the provider for the closure plan. Are there any other questions? You're more than welcome to send questions to the CCR performance mailbox that is on this last slide, and we will definitely get back to you as soon as possible with any answers.
Is there anybody who wants to be unmuted and ask directly? You can email the webinar and we can unmute you. So while we're waiting to see if there are any questions, I just wanted to reiterate that if you do have any questions in the future or need assistance, I know some larger counties wanted the information in the attachment A's sorted in a slightly different way to make it easier to distribute to their staff. And that is something that we are happy to try to help you with. If you email us at ccrperformance@dss.ca.gov, we'd be happy to help try to get that in a format that will best suit your needs. Okay, one more question.
Okay. How much is the IPC to be involved to review plans or help create them, or both?
So, well, I'll just speak to the attachment A. So the attachment A has a field where you have to list your IPC determination. So if you're indicating that that youth needs an STRCP level of care, we're requesting that you put the date of the IPC determination. So the IPC is determining whether or not a youth needs STRCP level of care. And then ongoing, the CFT is really talking through what the transition plan is looking like, and if there is a change to the needs of the youth, that should get presented to the IPC, and those are coming out of the CFT meeting. I hope that answers your question. If not, feel free to ask any follow-up questions to the box.
Okay. You're just keep on moving along. Okay. Can you confirm that if a child has already transitioned to home-based care of STRCP, we don't need to provide any further information?
So if a youth was in placement in a group home on May 1st, they were automatically populated into the county-specific Attachment A workbook. We're asking that you fill out as much information as you can in the Attachment A workbook for that youth. If you've indicated that they've moved to a home-based placement already, we're still asking that you try to fill out that information for us, because what we're trying to do is determine what type of best practices are occurring in your county that we can gather during our analysis of the data and be able to share that out. So even if that youth has already moved or is going to move to an STRCP, we're still asking for the information to be filled out.
And the next question is IPC determination needed every 6 months?
So an IPC determination is needed in order to place a youth into an STRCP. Now that STRCP placement per statute will need a 6-month review and sign off with deputy director approval every 6 months. So STRCPs are supposed to be short-term in nature, and so some youth may need STRCP level of care for 3 months, and some may need it for longer. And so as long as you're getting deputy director sign off, and that is still being informed through the CFT process, a new IPC determination doesn't need to be made. And there's additional information about IPC processes in ACL 17-122.
Okay, so Sheila Grant, we have STRCPs that are asking for the secondary review.
Secondary review. So if you mean by secondary review, if you mean the second level administrative review, that is the 6-month deputy director approval to go beyond the 6 months. So you need a deputy director sign off. And again, that information is in ACL 17-122 that the county must do if the youth is going to remain in an STRCP longer than 6 months.
No more questions?
Any other questions on Attachment A, county capacity plan updates, or the facility closure plans?
No, we did just get a question about something else.
Go ahead.
Is the secondary review something that you are also requesting to review?
We do not, so the county deputy director signs off on the approval. At this date, we're not asking for additional documentation. We can see what's in CWSDMS, but we're not asking for every youth that remains in an STRCP to come to the state. That's something that's a county decision and should be informed through the CFT process. And as long as your deputy director is signing off on that youth to remain, that's all the statute requires.
Rose Collins, what should we put in the IPC date if we have not done IPC determination yet?
So I think what we've chatted about here is that if you can indicate that that youth you believe needs SPRTP level of care by checking the SPRTP box, and then leaving the IPC determination blank, is that the preferred method?
So leave it blank, although right now we did, as mentioned in the webinar, there is an error in that section, so those dates need to go in the comment section. So you don't need to put in a date, but if you could provide information on when you're planning to have an IPC make that determination, that'll let us know that you're on the right track.
So that you can put that in the comments.
In the comment section, correct.
And then Sheila Grant, she said, I think I missed a part, but those in cohort 1, we need to do an update as well.
So we have locked the cells because we don't want counties changing what was previously submitted. If a youth is in cohort 2 that was in cohort 1, and you can add the new information in this section. I'm sorry, for this cohort. If you have special circumstances and you might want to change something, please reach out to the performance mailbox, and we can talk to you about why you might need to make those changes for the kids in cohort 1. But as a standard practice, we're not editing any of those cohort 1 kids at this time.
We were just providing it as information only, and are only asking for cohort 2 youth be updated or filled out for the first time.
Yeah. And I should have mentioned, and many of you guys already realize that the cohort 1 youth focused on kids that were in a group home with a low probability of transitioning to STRTPs. And for the second round, we included youth in all group homes. So you will see a substantial increase in the number of youth on your list. And it's only because we included more facilities this time around.
Have we received any additional questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, if you guys, anyone on the phone or on the webinar, if you guys have any more questions, please reach out to the CCR Performance mailbox, and we will get back to you with a response. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, and everyone have a great weekend.